Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military with Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about another massive missile and drone strike that took place during the previous night, and this morning we have a picture of the approximate routes of attacks. So as you can see, during the previous night the Russians used hundreds of drones, the Russians used tens of cruise missiles, and the Russians used several most likely ballistic missiles of hypersonic type. So when talking about this map, we have at least three areas of concentration of Russian fire. The Russians attacked the city of Kyiv, lots of explosions and fire anomalies were recorded. The Russians attacked the city of Kharkiv in the eastern part of Ukraine mainly with drones, and the Russians attacked the city of Ivano-Frankivsk, which is located in the most western part of Ukraine. During the previous 12 hours, we got lots of videos where we can see the consequences of attacks. For example, in this video we can see the city of Kyiv in the morning. We have smoke screen, some buildings were destroyed. The Russians, according to information we have, destroyed some military facilities that Ukrainians used to produce different parts for drones and missiles. So this is the situation, and this is another video also published this morning. Another building, another facility was destroyed. The Ukrainians are saying that the Russians used more than 400 drones, precisely 426 drones, 5 Kinjal missiles, 4 Kalibr missiles, 1 Iskander-K missiles, and 14 He-101 missiles. The Russians, according to information we have, attacked, as we discussed, 3 cities. The Ukrainians reported they managed to destroy almost everything. At least the Ukrainians reported they destroyed every single missile that the Russians launched and around 400 drones. So this is the situation. And once again, the most interesting thing is that the Russians attacked the city of Ivano-Frankivsk, which is located in the most western part of Ukraine. As for the beginning of the 21st of July of 2025, it's still unclear what exactly the Russians were attacking on the territory of this city. And the mayor of the settlement stated that that was the biggest attack since the beginning of the special military operation with drones and missiles. So let's wait and see what is going to be next, but most likely the Russians, when talking about Ivano-Frankivsk, were attacking first of all military facilities, warehouses of the Western weapon. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground, and first let's talk about the Sumy direction, where the Ukrainians continue their counter-offensive operation. And today we adjusted the map once again, and as you can see currently we have the northern parts and the northwestern part of the settlement under complete Ukraine control. During the previous night we got additional videos where we can see how Russians were attacking the edge positions of the armored forces of Ukraine. Based on this video we made several adjustments. Later we got a report published by pro-Ukrainian services of Deep State. They shown us that the entire village of Kondratovka is currently in the gray zone, so which means that it's let's say more or less correct information. And based on this report and based on different videos of how Russians were bombing and attacking Ukrainians in different parts of the settlement, we came to the same conclusion, that most likely the entire village of Kondratovka is currently in the gray zone. There are still very heavy clashes. Sometimes one building is under complete Ukraine control, but probably another floor of the same building may be under complete control of the armored force of the Russian Federation. One thing we know for sure, that there are still very heavy clashes between the Russians and the Ukrainians. But telling the truth, it seems that in coming days the Ukrainians will secure the village completely and force the Russians to fall back. For some reason, the Russians are not planning to counterattack. They are not trying to do anything with the purpose to stabilize the situation. It seems that the Russians are okay with this. It seems that the main plan of the Russians is to force the Ukrainians to keep their units for as long as possible in the Sumy direction, while the main Russian forces are able to improve their positions and to attack Ukrainian units, let's say somewhere in the area of the city of Kupiansk, or in the area of the Pokrovsk agglomeration, or in the area of the city of Constantinovka. So most likely this is the main reason. At the same time, the Russians managed to improve their positions in the Sumy direction, but in the vicinity of the settlement of Varachina, between the villages of Yanakivka and Yablunovka. We have at least 2 geolocations from this area, and in these videos we can see how Russians were attacking Ukrainian positions with infantry and how Ukrainians were attacking Russians with FPV drones and with probably artillery strikes. Based on this video that we've just seen, we have adjusted the part of the area around the settlement of Yanakivka and Varachina under complete Russian control. So this is the situation in the Sumy direction. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the Constantinovka direction. I would like to remind you that yesterday the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation reported that as a result of clashes, the Russians managed to secure the settlement by the name of Belaya Gora. So this is the settlement that is located along Seversky Donetsk-Donbass Canal to the southeast of the city of Constantinovka. Very important settlement, and the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation confirmed this information yesterday. But yesterday we had no videos, no episodes, nothing that could confirm this information. And the first video was published just this morning on the 21st of July of 2025, and this is exactly the video I'm talking about. Here we can see how several Russian soldiers were entering the most western part of the settlement of Belaya Gora. We can see Russian soldiers moving along the main street of the settlement, and in this very moment we can see how Russians were entering the building or the basement or that left from the building. So this episode, particularly this episode, took place exactly in this area. So we have proofs that indeed the Russians most likely managed to secure the entire village of Belaya Gora, and currently the clashes, as we discussed in the previous video, are taking place for the village of Alexandra Shultina. But the village of Alexandra Shultina is very small, as you can see. It's probably 3 times less than the village of Belaya Gora, so which means that the Russians most likely will secure the territory of the settlement in coming week, and then the entire pockets between Pritechino, Stupochki, Belaya Gora and Alexandra Shultina will collapse automatically. We are talking about these positions of the armored force of Ukraine. There are few forest belts, as you can see, several probably company strongholds, very important pocket for the purposes of defense of the city of Constantinovka, and most likely these pockets will collapse very soon. And then the Russians will have all chances to begin offensive in the direction of the southeastern part of the city of Constantinovka. Another important update is coming from the road N32. During the previous 24 hours, we have several changes on the ground. Along N32 road itself, the Russians secured this small corner and this dense network of the fortifications, and the Russians managed to improve their positions further in the northern direction from these anti-tank ditches. So this is very important because it seems that the Russians in coming days are planning to move further in the northeastern direction, and this time the Russians will try to attack the settlement by the name of Stepanovka, and for these purposes the Russians are planning to attack the settlement from the south and the southeast, and from the southwest and from the west. The main purpose of this possible attack of the armored force of the Russian Federation may be establishing control over this pocket and over this territory. And when summarizing everything that is currently taking place to the south and to the southeast of the city of Constantinovka, and with this possible attack in the direction of the settlement of Stepanovka, which is located to the southwest of Constantinovka, it seems that the Russians are about to begin their major offensive operation in the direction of this settlement as well. And most likely these attacks can start much earlier than the complete collapse of Ukrainian positions in the vicinity of Kliban-Bytsky pocket. And when talking about this pocket, we are still waiting for additional updates about the city and the villages of Yablunovka, Alexandra, Kalinova. I would like to remind you that several days ago, several very reliable pro-Russian and neutral resources reported that these villages were taken and secured by the Russians. But as for now, without proofs, without any confirmation, both from the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation or any geolocation. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the city of Pokrovsk. During the previous 24 hours, we have had lots of very interesting icons and articles and events from the southwestern part of the settlement. So let's discuss them in details. The most important thing and the most important topic is that during the previous 24 hours, there were lots of resources that's reported and published very interesting information that the Russians managed to enter the southwestern part of the city and to improve their position significantly. So let's discuss this article in details. Over the past few days, Ukrainian officials, including Zelensky, have reported on Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups' activity on the approaches to the city of Pokrovsk. However, today reports from Ukrainian Telegram channels corroborate these claims. Reports suggest that attacks on Pokrovsk are taking place from three main directions: the settlements of Zverovo, Pishchan, and Shevchenka. There are rumors that Russian soldiers, like sabotage and reconnaissance group, infiltrated 3.6 kilometers into Ukrainian-controlled territory, entering Yubileyny Park as outlined on the map. So, according to defense sources, including Zelensky himself, currently the Russians almost have no problems to operate and to infiltrate this territory. And this is, I would like to tell you, up to 25% of the entire city of Pokrovsk. We're not talking about buildings, we're talking about the square and the probably the square kilometers of this round circle of the city of Pokrovsk. If this information is correct, if the Russian sabotage and reconnaissance group are able to move and to operate in this area, this is a very big problem for the Ukrainians, which means that they don't have strong defense in this part of the city. And with this offensive operation and with the situation in the northeastern part in the area of Rodinskaya, it seems that the battle of the city of Pokrovsk is about to be finished in the Russian favor. Anyway, let's for now don't panic, don't make any adjustments, don't make any early conclusions. First, let's wait for additional updates and details. But when talking about different sources, today pro-Ukrainian resources reported that the Russians managed to improve their positions in the area of the settlement by the name of Shevchenka by taking under control additional positions along the railways. And the most important is that significant number of territories in the area of Zverovo, this is the territory I'm pointing you on the map, were colored by Deep State as a gray zone. So according to them, all these territories is already considered by the armed forces of Ukraine as a contested area or the gray zone. And this is obviously huge territories, and this is exactly the things that the previous article was talking about. The Russians are able to infiltrate deep inside of the territory of the city of Pokrovsk for 3.6 kilometers. As for the South Donetsk direction, during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received anything special, just small adjustments of the map in the area of the city of Shevchenka. Ukrainian sources published videos how they were attacking Russian positions in the area between the settlement of Volnaya Polye and Shevchenka, which means that the Russians continue their offensive deep inside of the territory already of Dnipro region and the Zaporozhye regions itself. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.